the secret billions of the Hermit Kingdom, the foundations of a criminal state. For decades, the world has viewed North Korea as a paradox. It is a nation of stark poverty, where famine and deprivation are constant threats, yet its leaders live in unimaginable luxury. It is a country suffocated by international sanctions, yet it possesses a sophisticated military, a relentless missile program, and the ultimate deterrent, a nuclear bomb. How does this closed-off, isolated regime, cut off from most global trade and finance, manage to survive and thrive? The answer lies in one of the most elaborate and audacious criminal enterprises in modern history, a sprawling network of illicit activities that is not merely tolerated by the state but is, in fact, the state itself. This is the story of how North Korea transformed itself into a multi-billion-dollar shadow economy, a criminal syndicate with a seat at the United Nations. This first part will delve into the analog origins of this enterprise, uncovering the old-school hustles of counterfeit currency, drug trafficking, and arms dealing that laid the foundation for the audacious schemes to come. The nerve center, Office 39. At the heart of North Korea's black economy is a secretive and powerful organization known as Office 39, or Bureau 39. Established in the late 1970s, its official purpose is to manage the Kim family's personal slush funds and to secure the foreign currency necessary to prop up the state's most critical, and often clandestine, projects. Office 39 is not a rogue operation. It is a pillar of the North Korean regime, a parallel government of sorts that exists entirely to evade sanctions and fund the lifestyle of the Kim dynasty and its inner circle. It is staffed by the country's most trusted elites and diplomats, operating with impunity from the highest level. This bureau's work is a strange mixture of statecraft and gangsterism. Its agents have diplomatic immunity, allowing them to smuggle vast sums of money, drugs, and other illicit goods across international borders. They operate shell companies, front organizations, and a labyrinth of global bank accounts, all designed to make the trail of money disappear. While the rest of the country suffers under a rigid ideology of self-reliance, Juche, Office 39 practices an entirely different kind of doctrine. Anything goes. The organization is tasked with doing whatever it takes to bring in hard currency, no matter how illegal or immoral the method. The superdollar conundrum, a counterfeiting masterpiece. One of the most infamous and audacious schemes orchestrated by North Korea was the production of the superdollar. In the 1990s and early 2000s, U.S. authorities and counterfeit experts were baffled by a flood of near-perfect counterfeit $100 bills. These bills were not the crude forgeries typically found in circulation. They were masterpieces of deception, printed on high-quality paper with intaglio printing and even containing the same security features as genuine currency, including watermarks and security threads. Experts concluded that only a state-level operation could have access to the necessary materials, technology, and expertise to create such flawless replicas. The trail led directly back to Pyongyang. The superdollar operation was a stroke of criminal genius. North Korea's printing facilities, built with state-of-the-art equipment imported from Europe, produced these bills with such precision that even bank tellers and automated sorting machines often failed to detect them. The regime then used its network of diplomats and front companies to distribute the fakes. Diplomatic pouches, which are exempt from customs inspection, were the perfect tool for smuggling the currency across borders. The superdollars were often used to purchase legitimate goods or were simply exchanged for other currencies on the black market. This was a direct, brazen assault on the U.S. economy, not just as a means to make money, but as a form of financial warfare. For Pyongyang, it was a way to fund its military and nuclear programs by literally printing the money it needed. Methamphetamine, opium, and the black gold. Beyond printing money, North Korea also became a major player in the global drug trade. While the Kim regime projects an image of moral purity, it has long been a state sponsor of narcotics production. Starting in the 1990s, as the country's economy collapsed, the government turned to drug manufacturing as a reliable source of foreign exchange. The primary drugs of choice were opium and, later, high-purity methamphetamine. The process was systematic and state-controlled. Elite scientists and chemists from North Korea's best universities were recruited to work in secret labs, producing massive quantities of crystal meth. The product was then smuggled out by the military, state-owned trading companies, and even fishermen, who used their boats to transport shipments to Japan, China, and other parts of Southeast Asia. This was a far cry from a rogue cartel. It was a state-run enterprise with quality control and distribution channels that rivaled any major criminal organization. The money generated from this trade was enormous, reportedly reaching hundreds of millions of dollars per year. It was a dirty, desperate business, but it worked, providing the regime with a constant flow of cash to buy the luxury goods and technology that sanctions denied them. The global arms bazaar, a proliferator of peril. Perhaps the most dangerous and politically explosive of North Korea's illicit activities is its role as a global arms dealer. Decades of isolation and an unrelenting focus on military development have made the country a hub of weapons technology, particularly in the realm of ballistic missiles. With no other way to export its products, Pyongyang turned to the gray and black markets, selling its deadly wares to the highest bidder, often other pariah states. This isn't just about selling guns and tanks. It's about the proliferation of the most destructive technologies on Earth. North Korea has sold ballistic missile technology and components to Iran, Syria, and other nations, earning billions of dollars in the process. These sales are conducted with extreme secrecy, often using a complex web of shipping companies and forged documents to hide the origin of the cargo. The UN has passed numerous resolutions to stop this trade, but North Korea's sophisticated smuggling networks have made it nearly impossible to fully shut down. The money from these deals is a direct lifeline for Pyongyang's nuclear and missile programs, creating a deadly feedback loop. The weapons sold today fund the development of even more advanced weapons for tomorrow. In the early 2000s, for example, a series of high-profile interdictions exposed this trade. Spanish naval forces intercepted a North Korean freighter bound for Yemen carrying a dozen Scud missiles. The discovery sent shockwaves through the international community, revealing the brazenness of North Korea's arms sales and the direct link between its criminal economy and the spread of military technology. The vessel was a front, its cargo a deadly payload, laying the groundwork for a new era. These early ventures, the superdollars, the drug trade, and the arms bazaar were the financial bedrock of the Kim dynasty. They provided the foreign currency needed to keep the lights on for the elite, to develop a nuclear program that would guarantee the regime's survival, and to project an image of strength despite the country's economic failures. However, as the 21st century dawned, the analog world of physical smuggling and counterfeiting began to face new challenges. The U.S. cracked down on counterfeiting, and global law enforcement became more adept at tracking drug shipments and arms deals. The world was becoming more interconnected, and the risks of these operations were growing. Pyongyang understood that to survive in this new environment, it needed a new strategy. It needed to move its criminal enterprise to a new frontier, one that was harder to track, harder to regulate, and offered a truly unlimited profit potential: the digital world. This move would lead to the rise of state-sponsored hackers and the multi-billion-dollar heists that would define the next chapter of North Korea's criminal history.